Beloved, today, January 10th, 2018, in dreams, I saw how the shortage already was and everyone suffered from something. Some people slept in garages, others on the edge of the streets. Many families shared their sheds, which was the only thing they had, one with others. And I began to see how the children were crying from hunger. The young people were disoriented. They did not know what to do before such a great food catastrophe, and their basic needs was not there. There was no choice. Everything was chaos. Everything was confusion. Then in that moment of despair, where entire families were running from one place to another, my companion appeared and said to me, "Come and see." Then we began to rise above this world, and I saw a great curtain, a black curtain, and it began to fall on it. At that moment I said, "Where is everyone? I can't see them. I can't see anyone." Then my companion told me, "The maximum hour is approaching, and it is already covering the planet. It is the duty of everyone who understands to move forward and be ready, because time is running out." So at that moment, I saw how the chaos was simultaneous in all areas, at family level, religious, political, individual level. And there was no rest, neither physical nor mental, in this type of situation. So I was taken to a city, and there among the crowd were seen walking among them these dark characters. They were demons. These demons were walking there among them, where there were a lot of concurrence of people, in cities, urbanizations, ages, different places where there were many people. Then suddenly, they no longer walked near them, but functioned with them. Then they began to torment them. And many of these, I saw how these demons entered their bodies and tormented them and induced them to commit the most horrendous act. Then I saw how cities, urbanization, and buildings, schools, and all these large malls, department stores, were prisons for many who, due to indolence, stayed and did not advance by faith. So when I saw this, I despaired, because I saw many acquaintances there, many loved ones, many church brothers. All of these were trapped there, and there was no more to do. Then my companion told me, they knew, but indolence for comfort or sentimentalism delayed them, and they could not conquer. Then, when they saw they were cornered, they cried and said, "How did it grab us, if we knew? How did this come about, if we knew?" Then my companion told me, "Look above them, O beloved." When I looked there, I saw in large letters a title well known to me, a title that the Lord has drawn my attention to for a long time. There it said in large letters, "The destiny of the world predicted." Then I said, "Lord, the double sign of fulfillment." And he answered me, "It is so." Then in front of everyone who was there present, everyone who was suffering, a movie began to appear in the air. This movie, beloved brothers, was from Jerusalem, and it was about the events. The sign of the flight appeared there, the precursor signs of the great destruction. There it could also be seen how, in the year 67, at the time of the Feast of Tabernacles, Cestius Gallus arrived and nailed the Roman standard and also the retreat, and the three groups that emerged: those who left quickly because they saw the signal and obeyed, those who delayed because of convenience or economy, and there too could be seen the leaders who were emboldened before the Roman army. It was so terrible to see all that live, and how when I saw it, me too at the same time, I saw how those who were there suffering, imprisoned in these cities and in these different places, were also seeing these scenes. Then we also saw how the city fell into chaos as soon as the children of God came out, who understood and obeyed and abandoned everything and obeyed by faith. The political, religious, internal chaos within Jerusalem began to arrive. Then also in his mercy, the Lord began to give the precursor signs. So this I also saw the character who was there for 7 years preaching in the streets and was not heard by those people who had remained there. Then came the imminent destruction and the blood that flowed in that place, all because of disobedience. It was terrible, brothers, to see those scenes, and even in the midst of them, to still see the mercy of God that appealed for them to live in time before this happened. So I began to shout with all my might to those who were imprisoned there. I yelled at them to humble themselves and cry out to God. But my companion told me, let's go. Their fate is cast. There I saw children, I saw young people and adults, entire families, and also families defragmented by disobedience and procrastination. So on our trip to the mountains, I asked, when did the counting start? When did it start? Then he told me, you know it. He reminded me of an event and said to me, do you remember when you went to Bayshore Church in New York? The messages you received were the precursor to this sign. But only the wise understood, and the people that follow the Lamb are already in march. Then I saw how many left their comfortable places by faith and headed to the mountains. It was wonderful to see those people who did begin their ascent to the mountains, leaving everything behind by faith because they understood that the time already was. Then at that moment he told me, exhort in this because the time is 2 to 12 o'clock. So I asked my companion, what is 2 to 12? In that moment I was shown a clock with that time. And I said, oh my God, how to make them understand this if there is almost no time? Then I was told, exhort, and many will understand. Only those who are understood, those who are written in the book of life. So I said, what more will I do? What more am I going to say? Then he answered me and said, go and instruct, because time is running out. At that moment, I went back to my bed and couldn't sleep anymore. Well, there are no words, dear brothers, for what I saw there. I only ask God to help me make myself understood, and that the understood can understand and run to prepare so that they do not suffer such a terrible fate that is already upon us. I am going to try, with the help of God, in this day, to be all as clear as possible regarding these messages that God gave me at that time back in September 2015 when I was in New York on the Bay Shore. So later, with the help of God, pray for me so that this can come up and make myself understand in such a way that it is so clear that if you want to share it with others, you can understand it too. Dear brothers, let us not delay. The Lord is calling us, and it is necessary to leave everything to follow Him. Let us pray for each other and move forward in the Lord. May God bless you all.